stuff to talk about. I generally don't do these, but I'm pretty excited about the Season of the Dawn. Obviously, from the title of this video, you can see that I'm excited. There's a lot to do. So, with all of that, we've got some points to go over. So I want to start off by just showing you where we're at right now, before I get into what everything's going to be. So right now, the maximum gear score you can have is 950 with powerful gear. So once you hit 900, you were grinding out powerful engrams and prime engrams to get you up to 950. But once you hit 950, you're then on the pinnacle grind for the last 10 in your power level. And see if I have any on this character. I don't think I do. I might. Yeah, well, there's a piece of pinnacle gear. So pinnacle rewards didn't necessarily give you the highest gear things that you could do, but they're going to give you 2 tier gear scores. So if you're at 950 across the board, when I finished a pinnacle quest for this Swarm of the Raven, I was able to get 2 on that. And they're a little bit longer. You can do about 7. I think with the raids, you might be able to get 9 in a week, but that's not necessarily going to raise your light level to 952. It might only bring you up to 951. And the great thing about that is once you are increasing that, it's going to start dropping things like this pillager at 951. So it's going to be easier to get through that. So if you're already all the way to 960 right now, and you've maxed out all the pinnacle rewards you could do, well, on Tuesday at the reset, which they says 8 a.m. is when it's going to start, and 11 a.m. is when it's going to finish. Hey, what's going on, man? So when that finishes, our power level is going to go up to 960 as our powerful reward cap, and 970 is going to be our new pinnacle cap. So super exciting. And of course, if you have any questions about what I'm going over or anything you want to know while I'm diving into this, definitely let me know. All right, so those are the things going on with the powerful and pinnacle reward caps. Another one that's really exciting for me is I've not been able to get the Anarchy at all. I've done Scourge of the Past so many times, could not get it. They're finally going to raise that up from 5% drop to 10% drop. Oh man, if I could just get that, it's going to be great. But moving on, we have the escalation protocol. They're finally going to make it so you don't need to have that decrypted key. You get all those fragments, then you get it encrypted, and it has to be decrypted. Now you can just get the end reward starting on Tuesday, just right off the bat, much like you do with the Altar of Sorrow right now on the moon. However, they're not getting rid of the the Valkyrie keys that you use during escalation protocol and other things. You can still use those keys. Those won't be removed at all. Won't dive too much into weapon mods and changes that they're doing there, but 801 will no longer give you any duplicates with that. A big piece is when you're modding your weapon right now, if you want to change your mod, you're looking at 5,000 glimmer. And this has kind of made me a little bit glimmer poor as I've been grinding out my tribute haul a little late, all that good stuff. But that's now going to go down to 500, so 10%. I'm not going to have problems with glimmer anymore, I promise you, because I changed my mods a lot. Unfortunately, it's not going to change any of this. That's still all going to be the same with your rank ups there. And I'm not going to go into class changes and all that because there's a ton of it. Each one of those, I feel like you could do an entire video showcasing the things that are going to change with it. So really great news there. And my favorite, the thing I want to check right now, is they've announced that doing Eververse purchases with Bright Dust is coming back. So if you're someone like me who does not buy silver, at least very rarely, and if I do, it's for things like the season pass, it is really cool to know that I have a chance at getting some of these emotes that I see around, or a sparrow, or maybe a skin to a exotic that I've been looking for. There's a lot of things in there that are really cool that I see people doing, like, oh man, that's awesome, which I get. It's really cool to have that one thing that makes you stand out. So I get that it was all out of silver. I also get that Bungie's not with Activision anymore, so they got to make their revenue in a different way. So I'm okay with there being a store based specifically around silver. But what they were saying is at the end of this season, 50% of everything in that store will be purchasable with Bright Dust. 80%, that's 80, is going to be available to buy with Bright Dust. And they said that they would be transparent about it as much as possible, weekly giving out a tweet saying these are the things that are going to be available with silver only. And these are the things out of this week that will be available to buy with Bright Dust later. So always drop with silver first, then can buy with Bright Dust later. So that's really exciting. All right, and on top of that, they heard us. The Bright Dust economy is getting a change. So with this, Bright Dust is going to get easier to get. With the Dawning Quest for the weekly, we're going to get the same as we get out of Crucible, Gambit, and the Vanguard Strikes. We're going to get 200 on the weekly on the repeatables. So let's see before I hop all into that.
Welcome to Eververse.
Bright Dust, Bright Dust, Bright Dust. So that all looks the same, actually. Nothing new there. And these are showing only silver, so let's take a look at the next menu here. That's all silver. That's all silver. I think it has not occurred yet because all I'm seeing is silver. And there's a Bright Dust section now. And maybe this was here already, but I just don't look a lot in here, so I'm like, whatevs for most of this, but that's kind of cool. Yeah, I wish these spawn animations were a little bit longer, but I'm also glad that they're not. Alright, well, it looks like it's starting to take effect. Maybe I haven't noticed once again. I don't spend a lot of time in the store because I'm not buying silver. I don't really care much for it, but I will grind out Bright Dust.
Thank you for shopping at Eververse. I'm
not saying that I'll do anything for Bright Dust, but I'm not saying there's a lot of things that I won't do for Bright Dust. Alright, so continuing on. They even said that going into Crimson Days, they're going to continue this along with the Season of the Dawn quest as well. So you'll still get your weeklies out of it, but Crimson Days are a lot like Iron Banner, where there aren't daily bounties. It's all weekly bounties, so not a big deal there. Another great thing that they said that they were doing with Eververse is you will no longer be able to do duplicate purchases. And I believe I actually saw that while we were just looking around in there for a few moments. Is if you've already purchased it, it will say you cannot purchase it again, which is nice because we had to remember whether we had something or not. And that was kind of frustrating. I'm going to be honest, I was really frustrated when I find out that I spent Bright Dust on something that I already have. And that might not seem like a big deal to those who are buying silver, but for us that are not doing it, I mean, 700 silver, that's 10 bucks. Well, $7, but that's $7 I just threw in the trash because I bought it again. That would be frustrating. And now it has this lock there. And I think that's going to go across the board for everything. So that's really nice. I like that.
Thanks
that's
for shopping
a really
Eververse,
big change
Guardian.
that I like. Let's move away from her so she doesn't talk to us too much. All she wants to talk about is Eververse and new moves. All right. So they have a lot of changes that are going on with the seasons, things that are going away. So with this season, they've officially announced that Undying's free premium season rewards that you're getting are going away, including the acquisition of the Ariana's Vow. So if you don't have that yet, you should get it. I mean, it doesn't take much to even get the first one, I don't think. Let me go back here real quick. Right at 35. You get the Ariana's Vow. And not much further down the road, oh, maybe it is a long way down the road, I believe the catalyst was like almost immediate. So if you don't have the catalyst quest from it, I don't remember how I got it or what was going on with it. I feel like it had to do with Banshee because I was doing a lot of things with Banshee at the time.
Don't get too distracted.
Go get it now,
by the new setup,
because
Guardian.
you're going to have to wait through the season of Dawn into whatever the season in the spring is. Once that season comes, that's when you'll be able to go acquire that again. So that's a long time. And this quest takes a long time. It took me a while to figure out what was going on with it and how you would even make progress with it, but I'll just hop into that here just shortly. Where are we at? First page. Okay, so you'll feel like you're not making any progress with this, and all it says is have the Ariana's Vow and use it during a strike, gambit, gambit prime, or crucible. And you'll see it sit at 0 for a long time, then 1% for a long time, even though you're doing a ton of these activities. The breakdown of this is you need to do 400 activities. Once that's done, you got the catalyst. That's all it takes. So, yeah, you're going to have to rock that thing for a bit, but it's not necessarily a hard one. It's just a time-consuming one. It's effort into it and going, all right, well, I guess I'll put down my recluse and put the Ariana's Vow there and blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is that you have in that secondary slot, you're going to have to do that. Whatever exotic you've been rocking, it's time to put it away and kind of grind it out. Unless you don't care about this hand cannon at all, which is a super solid hand cannon. But anyways, let's get off that and back into the next thing. So the next thing that's going away that you will not be able to do, and to be honest, I really don't care too much about it anyways, is, oh, it's on Mars, isn't it? It is, or the moon. This guy right here, gone. You will not be able to do the Vex offensive on the moon anymore. Also, anything tied with it, so the Vex weapon data seeds from Ikora, the Gate Lord season artifact, that's this guy right here down at the bottom that's been giving you that extra bump in power. Right now I'm got 14. This whole thing is going away. But do not worry, because we have another thing coming in its place. So we'll have a new season of the Dawn artifact that will be building up in its place. So not a terribly big deal. It's whatever. With new things that we'll be putting in here. So those are the things we'll be looking for. Moving on. There's not a ton of extra stuff in this one that I really want to go over or has a lot of bearing on what we do on a normal. Go to Bungie's website and take a look at some of the videos, especially the animation that they're bringing for the
biological material.
For the solar class. It's a spin in his hand and he throws it. It's not an immediate throw, but that little spin throw is an instant kill in Crucible. So it's no longer Titans throwing out the one-hit kill melees anymore. It's now you got to watch for hunters too. And I got to be honest, I'm going to be a little scared with how that goes, because at least with the Titans, you had a counter. You saw them coming, you knew what was going to happen. They would probably do a slide move and then punch you in the face, but you had shotguns, so you just hit them right out of it, no big deal. So if you saw that happening a lot, you would just switch it over. But with the Titans, I fear, or the Hunters, I feel like you're going to have to be a lot more on top of it. You can't hesitate.
Sure.
And they're going to be outside shotgun range, so I guess we're all going to be rocking snipers or something, and we're all going to get really good at scoping, or Hunters are just going to wreck us. It's worse than what we were seeing out of the insurmountable Skullfort. This guy right here, you saw that in the load up. You would see them right there across the hall from you, showing their whole team layout, flaunting at the very beginning. You're like, oh, I need to put a shotgun on, because some dude is going to come out and be a little way too crazy for me. But with the Hunters, I guess if you see something like the 6th of Coyote, that would be a pretty good indication that you're going to be running into a knife thrower, because that's going to give them their 2 dodges, and that's going to give them 3 knives? Yeah, 3 knives to throw. That's going to be a bit much, but they've also showed another knife layout where it almost is a trip mine. It's a sticky knife that sticks on the wall, and when something comes in proximity, explodes. So you could be running into either one of those if you see the 6 coyote chest. So that'll be the thing to look for in the Season of Dawn going forward. When you see that layout in Crucible, if you see the 6 coyote chest piece, make sure you're definitely keeping an eye on the walls. If you see guys popping up high, it's a good time to get behind some cover or something, because you know you got a knife coming or something to that effect. Most people don't jump up in the air unless they're about to pop a super or they're about to do something crazy with grenade launcher. Now you're just looking for knives too. All right, so that's all I have for today's stream for you guys. That's breaking into it. We didn't have any extra questions or anything, so we'll go ahead and end this stream, and then we'll start another one going into finally finishing off our Gambit reset for Infamy, and maybe get that Delirium 21%. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm hoping for. Well, as always, thank you for joining in, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day.